The Silent Guardian. The void of space stretched endlessly around Frontier Station Epsilon 9, a small human outpost that drifted at the edge of explored space. To most passing alien vessels, it appeared to be nothing more than a refueling depot, a minor waypoint that barely registered on galactic maps. Its unassuming exterior housed just 37 humans, all of whom were classified as maintenance personnel in official documentation. Commander Ilara Chen stood before the observation window, her dark eyes reflecting the distant stars. 10 years she had served on this station, watching and waiting. 10 years of isolation, of maintaining the facade that Epsilon 9 was nothing but a forgotten human experiment in deep space colonization. "Commander, we're picking up unusual readings again," Lieutenant Marcus Reed called from his monitoring station. His fingers danced across holographic displays, pulling data streams into focus. Same signature as yesterday, but stronger. Whatever it is, it's getting closer. Ilara nodded, her expression betraying nothing of the unease that gripped her. "Continue monitoring. Alert me if there's any change in trajectory." For 3 weeks, they had been tracking these anomalies, energy signatures unlike anything in their database. Protocol dictated they should report such findings to Earth Command immediately, but Ilara had hesitated. Something about these readings felt deliberate, like a message meant only for those who knew how to listen. "Commander," Reed's voice was steady, but Ilara could hear the tension beneath. "I'm detecting mass displacement consistent with ships exiting hyperspace. Multiple signatures, large vessels." Ilara's heart quickened. In 10 years, Epsilon 9 had never encountered anything larger than trading vessels. "How many?" Reed swallowed. "At least 50, possibly more." They're massive, Commander." The emergency lighting activated automatically, bathing the command center in a soft red glow. Around her, her crew moved with practiced efficiency, each person attending to their designated emergency protocols. "Put it on screen," she ordered. The main display flickered to life, showing what appeared to be a swarm of massive obsidian shapes, their surfaces reflecting no light. They moved with unnatural precision, as though guided by a single mind. They were unlike any ships Ilara had ever seen, organic in appearance yet clearly artificial, with curves and angles that seemed to defy conventional physics. "Are they responding to hails?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. Communications Officer Patel shook her head. "No response on any frequency, Commander." "Wait, we're receiving something now." The screen flickered, and an image appeared. The being that stared back at them was vaguely humanoid, but with skin like polished stone, deep-set eyes that glowed with an inner light, and no visible mouth. When it spoke, the words seemed to form directly in their minds. "We are the Voidborn. Your presence has been noted. Your existence is an anomaly. Surrender your station or be erased." A chill ran down Ilara's spine. The Voidborn were considered a myth, stories told by deep space explorers who claimed to have encountered an ancient race that predated all known civilizations, a race that viewed younger species as little more than cosmic dust to be swept aside. "This is Commander Ilara Chen of Frontier Station Epsilon 9. We are a peaceful research outpost. We have no quarrel with you." The being's eyes narrowed. "Deception. We have observed. This station is more than it appears. It is a threat. It will be eliminated." The transmission ended abruptly. Ilara's mind raced. How could they know? Epsilon 9's true purpose was classified at the highest levels. Only a handful of people on Earth even knew of its existence. "Commander, they're powering weapons," Reed shouted. "Energy readings are off the charts." Ilara took a deep breath. The moment she had trained for her entire career had arrived. "Initiate Protocol Sentinel. Authorization: Chen, Alpha 7-9 Echo." Around her, her crew exchanged glances of shock and realization. Protocol Sentinel was something they had drilled for, but never expected to implement. It was the station's final contingency. "Commander," Security Chief Alvarez stepped forward, her voice low. "Is it time?" Ilara nodded. "It's time." Alvarez moved to a console that had remained dormant for the station's entire existence. She placed her palm on the scanner, and a hidden compartment slid open, revealing a crystalline device pulsing with soft blue light. "The beacon is ready, Commander," Alvarez said. Ilara stepped forward and placed her own hand on the device. "Sentinel protocol activated. May God help us all." The crystal flared to life, sending a pulse of energy through the station. Deep within Epsilon 9's core, systems that had lain dormant for decades began to awaken. The station's unassuming exterior began to change, panels shifting to reveal weapon emplacements that had been hidden since its construction. "Commander," Reed called, his voice filled with awe. "The station's power output has increased by 800%. Defensive systems are online. And something else is happening." The space around Epsilon 9 began to shimmer, like heat waves rising from desert sand. Where there had been empty void moments before, dozens of sleek, angular ships began to appear, their stealth systems deactivating in sequence. Earth's hidden fleet, the Silent Guardians. For decades, humanity had presented itself to the galaxy as a peaceful, somewhat primitive species focused on trade and cultural exchange. Their ships were unremarkable, their weapons defensive at best. The galactic community had dismissed them as a curiosity, a young race still finding its footing among the stars. It was all a carefully constructed illusion. While the diplomats smiled and signed treaties, Earth's best engineers and scientists had been building in secret, creating technologies that rivaled or surpassed those of species that had been spacefaring for millennia. Stealth ships that could hide in plain sight, weapons that could pierce the strongest known shields. And Epsilon 9, a seemingly insignificant outpost that served as the command center for Earth's most closely guarded secret, a defense network spanning half the galaxy. The Voidborn ships hesitated, their perfect formation faltering for the first time. "They're recalibrating their weapons," Reed reported. "I think we surprised them." Ilara allowed herself a grim smile. "Good. Lieutenant Commander Harris, you have weapons control. Target their lead vessel. Let's show them what humanity is truly capable of." Harris nodded, his fingers dancing across the tactical display. "Targeting solution acquired. Quantum lance is charged and ready." Ilara took a deep breath. This would be the first time such a weapon had been used outside of testing. Fire. A beam of brilliant white energy surged from Epsilon 9's primary emitter, crossing the void in an instant. It struck the Lid Voidborn vessel directly at its center. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, like a flower blooming in fast motion, the alien ship split apart, energy cascading through its structure until it disintegrated completely. The remaining Voidborn ships recoiled, their formation breaking entirely. "They're powering weapons," Reed called. "Multiple targets. They're going to hit us with everything they have." "All personnel to battle stations," Ilara commanded. "Signal the fleet. Engagement Protocol Alpha. This is not a drill." Around Epsilon 9, the Silent Guardian fleet moved into defensive positions, their engines glowing with contained power. These were not the lumbering transports that aliens had grown accustomed to seeing from Earth. These were warships designed for a single purpose: to ensure humanity's survival against any threat. The first volley from the Voidborn fleet was devastating, energy weapons that could have vaporized a planet streaking toward the station and its defenders. But the Silent Guardians were ready. Shields flickered into existence, not the standard energy barriers used throughout the galaxy, but something new: quantum phase shields that existed partially outside normal spacetime, allowing them to absorb energies that would overwhelm conventional defenses. "Return fire," Ilara ordered. "All ships, weapons free. Protect the station at all costs." The human fleet responded with a coordinated attack that spoke of years of training. Weapons that had never been revealed to the galactic community lashed out, tearing through the Voidborn's advanced defenses as though they were paper. For every Guardian vessel lost, 3 Voidborn ships were destroyed. "Commander," Reed called out, his voice tight with tension. "The Voidborn flagship is changing position. They're retreating." A murmur of disbelief ran through the command center. The Voidborn, a species so ancient and powerful that most considered them mythical, were falling back before human weapons. "Signal the fleet," Ilara commanded. "Push the advantage. Don't let them regroup." The Guardian ships moved forward in perfect formation, harrying the retreating Voidborn vessels. What had begun as a hopeless defense had transformed into a decisive counterattack. On the main screen, the Voidborn leader appeared again, its stone-like features now showing what might have been agitation. "What are you?" the thought voice demanded. No developing species should possess such technology. Ilara stepped forward, her chin raised. "We are humanity. We came in peace, but we prepared for war. You threatened our existence. This is our response." "This changes everything," the Voidborn leader replied. "The Old Ones spoke of a species that would rise from obscurity. We did not believe. We were wrong." The transmission cut off abruptly. The Voidborn flagship turned, its massive form accelerating away from the battlefield, the surviving ships of its fleet following in its wake. "They're entering hyperspace," Reed reported, disbelief evident in his voice. "Commander, we won." Ilara shook her head. "This wasn't a victory, Lieutenant. This was a warning. For them and for us. The galaxy now knows that Earth is not defenseless, and the Voidborn will return, better prepared next time." She turned to face her crew, their faces reflecting the mix of relief and apprehension that she herself felt. "Contact Earth Command. Tell them the Silent Guardians have been revealed. The time for hiding in plain sight is over." As Epsilon 9's true nature stood revealed to the stars, Ilara knew that everything would change. Humanity had stepped onto the galactic stage, not as the peaceful traders they had pretended to be, but as warriors with technology that could challenge even the most ancient of races. The facade had been necessary, a way to buy time while Earth prepared. But now a new chapter would begin. And Ilara wondered what the galaxy would make of a species that had fooled them all so completely. Awakening the stars. The Voidborn retreat had bought them precious little time. Just 72 hours after the initial engagement, Epsilon 9's long-range sensors detected a massive surge in hyperspace activity. The Voidborn were returning, and they weren't alone. They'd brought reinforcements, Reeve announced, his voice steady despite the grim news. "I'm counting over 300 vessels, multiple configurations." Ilara studied the tactical display, noting the formations and energy signatures. "They called in their allies, probably promised them a share of our technology once we're defeated." Around the command center, her crew worked with focused determination. No one spoke of fear, though Ilara knew it must be present in all their minds. 300 ships against their modest fleet of 50 was not a battle that could be won through conventional means. "Commander," Communications Officer Patel called out, "we're receiving transmissions from Earth Command. Priority Alpha." Ilara nodded. "Put it through to my station." The face that appeared on her private screen was weathered, with deep lines etched around eyes that had seen too much conflict. Admiral Kenji Takahashi, the architect of the Silent Guardian program. "Commander Chen," he greeted her, his voice carrying the weight of command. "Your actions have forced our hand earlier than we anticipated, but the Council has decided it's time. Operation Starfall has been authorized." Ilara's eyes widened. "Sir, Starfall is still in the theoretical phase. The energy requirements alone were solved 6 months ago," Takahashi interrupted. "We've been running simulations ever since. It's ready." Hope, fragile but present, began to bloom in Ilara's chest. "When can we expect deployment?" "It's already underway," Takahashi replied. "The first wave will arrive within the hour. The second and third waves will follow at 30-minute intervals. Your orders are to hold your position and protect the beacon at all costs. The fate of Earth depends on it." "Understood, Admiral," Ilara said, straightening her shoulders. "Epsilon 9 will stand." The Admiral's expression softened slightly. "I know it will, Commander. You and your crew were chosen for a reason." Takahashi out. As the transmission ended, Ilara turned to face her command team. "Operation Starfall has been authorized," she announced. "We need to hold the station for 2 hours. After that, reinforcements will have arrived." Security Chief Alvarez frowned. "Reinforcements from where, Commander?" "Every Guardian ship in this sector is already here." Ilara allowed herself a small smile. "From Earth, Chief. Directly from Earth." Understanding dawned on their faces. The Silent Guardian program had been just one facet of humanity's secret preparations, a forward line of defense designed to buy time if needed. But behind that first line stood Earth's true might, hidden not in space, but on Earth itself, concealed beneath oceans and mountains. "Adjust our formation," Ilara ordered. "Defense pattern Omega. The beacon must be protected at all costs." As her orders were relayed to the fleet, the Guardian ships moved into a spherical formation around Epsilon 9, their most powerful weapons directed outward. They were outnumbered 6-1, but position and technology would help even the odds. "Voidborn fleet will be in weapons range in 5 minutes," Reed reported. "Their energy signatures suggest they've modified their weapons since our last encounter." Ilara had expected as much. The Voidborn were ancient and adaptable. They would not make the same mistakes twice. "All hands to battle stations," she commanded. "This is what we trained for. Today we stand not just for Epsilon 9, but for Earth itself." The minutes ticked by with agonizing slowness. On the main display, the advancing Voidborn fleet filled the screen, their ships now interspersed with vessels of different configurations, allies or mercenaries brought to ensure their victory. "Enemy fleet in range," Reed announced. But before Ilara could give the order to engage, space itself seemed to convulse. A massive distortion appeared at the edge of the battlefield, a swirling vortex of energy that pulsed with blinding intensity. "What is that?" Alvarez whispered, her professional demeanor momentarily forgotten. Ilara's heart raced. "That, Chief, is Operation Starfall." From the vortex emerged ships unlike any the galaxy had seen before, where the Silent Guardians were sleek and angular. These vessels were massive, their hulls gleaming with a material that seemed to absorb and reflect light simultaneously. They moved with impossible grace for their size, accelerating to combat velocity in seconds. "Earth's true fleet," Ilara said, unable to keep the pride from her voice. "The Stellar Sovereignty-class dreadnoughts." Behind the first wave came more ships, cruisers, destroyers, carriers launching swarms of fighters that moved in perfect synchronization. Each vessel bristled with weapons that defied conventional understanding of physics. The Voidborn fleet faltered, their perfect formation breaking as they attempted to adjust to this unexpected development. Their first volley, meant for the Guardian ships, went wide, energy weapons dissipating harmlessly in the void. "They're reconsidering their attack," Reed observed. "The Voidborn flagship is signaling their allies." But it was too late for reconsideration. Earth's fleet, hidden for decades in underwater bases and lunar facilities, had been designed with a single purpose: to ensure that no alien force, no matter how ancient or powerful, could threaten humanity's existence. "We're receiving a transmission from the lead Earth vessel," Patel announced. The screen flickered, revealing a command center much like their own, but larger and more advanced. At its center stood a woman in an admiral's uniform, her silver hair cropped short, her expression resolute. "This is Admiral Helena Frost of the Earth Defense Force," she announced, her voice carrying the authority of one used to command. "All Guardian vessels, form up on our flanks. Commander Chen, your station has done well. Now let us finish this." Ilara nodded. "Acknowledged, Admiral." Guardian fleet moving to support positions. As the Guardian ships adjusted their formation to complement the Earth fleet, the Voidborn made their decision. Rather than retreat, their vessels surged forward, weapons firing in a coordinated barrage that lit up the darkness of space like a new sun being born. The Earth ships met the assault head-on, their advanced shields absorbing or deflecting the incoming fire. Then, with deliberate precision, they returned fire. The battle that followed would later be described by witnesses as both beautiful and terrifying. Earth ships moved with uncanny coordination, their weapons targeting the Voidborn and their allies with surgical precision. For every Earth vessel damage, 5 enemy ships were destroyed or disabled. The Voidborn are attempting to target the beacon directly. Reed warned. 3 of their cruisers are breaking formation, attempting to slip past our defenses. Ilara's jaw tightened. They figured out what the beacon does. Divert Guardian Squadrons 3 and 4 to intercept. The Guardian ships moved to engage, but the Voidborn cruisers were fast and determined. One was destroyed immediately, but the other 2 continued their approach, absorbing punishing fire without slowing. They won't reach the station in time, Alvarez warned. Then we use the station's own defenses, Ilara decided. Power up the quantum lance. Target the Lid cruiser. The weapon that had so surprised the Voidborn in their first encounter came online once more, its energy signature building rapidly. But this time, the Voidborn were prepared. The cruisers split apart, making targeting more difficult. "I can't get a lock," Harris reported, frustration evident in his voice.